seeing some new evidence this morning that released terror detainees are returning to their terrorist ways. Just take a look at Gitmo. This guy was prisoner 372. His name is Abdul Shawaf al-Zadi al-Sharari. He's a Saudi. He was sprung from Guantanamo Bay. And guess what? Now he's back, swearing vengeance on America in a video on a jihadist website. He happens to be one of 62, that's right, 62 detainees suspected or confirmed of returning to the terrorist path, vowing to battle against America. So how does the president's plan to shut down Gitmo prevent even more of these guys from taking up terrorism? Well, joining us now is John Batchelor, host of the John Batchelor radio program, which can be heard tonight at 7 p.m. on ABC radio stations. John, bottom line, they are letting terrorists out who want to kill us.
Good morning, Eric. Yes, catch and release. This is a story that goes right to the battlefield right now. What do our soldiers do with a terrorist who drops his weapons, holds his hands up, and expects to be treated as a man who walks through Guantanamo and can go back into the fighting within 4 years?
So what do we do about them? There are now 245 of these detainees. The president says they're going to have a task force to review each case, whether they're releasable, triable, or non-triable. It sounds like fish.
The executive orders that the president issued within the last days do not answer any of those questions. That's the most alarming aspect of this. We don't know. The Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense are to follow through a review for the next 6 months to come up with answers that may resemble answers that were just voided. That is, the Military Commissions Act of 2006 did provide for trial by military tribunal for the worst of these characters. That would be Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and his kindred of Cain, who were on trial, but that trial is now voided, suspended, and it has to start all over again. It's a problem for everyone going forward, Eric.
What happens with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the alleged mastermind of 9/11? Look, if he was waterboarded, they can't put him in a civilian trial.
No, he can't. He can't go under the Constitution's Article 3. He has not been Mirandized, and also he says he's been tortured. Other people say that waterboarding is torture, most notably the nominee to be Attorney General. I don't see how he can go into a federal courtroom and do anything but walk out.
What would that mean if he did go into a federal courtroom? Why would he walk out?
He would walk out because he wasn't Mirandized. That is, his rights have already been violated.
What, and you got to give these guys their rights, like a drunken driver or something, like a DWI?
Ramzi Youssef, who is Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's relative, his nephew, Ramzi Youssef was given his Miranda rights, and also he was prosecuted under federal court. He is now in Supermax for the rest of his life. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed has been in our custody since 2003. This is a man who was born in Kuwait. He's about 44 years old. He is a dedicated mass murderer. He's also a coward, and he's unreliable as a source of information about himself. To take him into a federal court at this point would be to wreck the procedure. However, the military tribunal that was hearing his case before these executive orders hadn't determined how to go forward at all. He tried, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and his kindred of Cain tried to plead guilty as recently as December of 2008. The court refused to hear that plea because military officers were not present. This is a death penalty case. The president has voided that procedure. They've got to start all over again. Eric, the worst thing about this, we don't know what's going to happen. We're in that zone now where the men and women on the battlefield don't know what's going to happen to the worst of them. Therefore, the other 244 at Guantanamo can reasonably hope that they're going to be released to their relatives and go back into the fight within the year.
Well, we just saw a picture of Ramzi Youssef, who was the convicted involved with the World Trade Center bombing in 1993 and a plot to blow up airliners over the Pacific. That's him. His uncle, as you said, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. This guy's in jail the rest of his life in Supermax.
We hope, Eric. I don't have a version right now that says that we can try Khalid Sheikh Mohammed as a federal prisoner, like Ramzi Youssef, or as a military prisoner, an illegal detainee, because we don't have rules that are in place. What's important here is that however we proceed, however the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense determine, there must be rules that will apply to a man or woman taken tonight on the battlefield who tries to kill one of our soldiers, and those same rules must apply to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. We cannot have two sets of rules.
Well, it seems to be up in the air, and they'll be looking at each one of the 245 left. We certainly hope that they don't get released and come back. John Batchelor of the John Batchelor Show on ABC Radio. Thank you, John. Jamie?
Lower